Thank you for your time. Today we're going to be talking about why your ERP cannot block supply chain UV. Uncertainty and variability happen throughout your supply chain. It's the nature of how you buy, how you sell, and where your customers and vendors are located. That uncertainty and variability burns the margin, service, and assets of your company, and your current systems can't stop it. The impact of supply chain UV is widespread, not only within your own company, but also across your entire customer and vendor landscape. So what's the limits? Why can't my enterprise data work for me? Well, enterprise data, these types of systems that you see here on the left, have some strengths, right? Your company has spent a lot of money to acquire and maintain those. They do a good job of being able to pay vendors and invoice customers. The quality and timeliness of their data, however, remain dirty and late. So an analogy would be the box score in tomorrow's paper. The game's over, it records what happened. So it's only recording those transactions that are happening inside of your business. It's blind to the actual source of uncertainty and variability, and its typical response is to slather inventory from head to toe in an attempt to protect service levels. So the enterprise data, very large, tremendous impact to your business, tremendous value, needs to be protected. However, that's surrounded by two layers of external and ecosystem data. The ecosystem is all of those vendors and modes and nodes of carriers that move it from your vendor to your own facilities, whether that's manufacturing or distribution. And there's a tremendous amount of data and performance, and some are having good days and some are having bad days. That's happening right now. It's in real time. Similarly, where your customers live in this external data set, their uncertainty is, the primary source of all uncertainty in your company. But also then there's weather, and whether or not the ports are congested, or is there a labor strike, or is there a hurricane, or any type of economic indicators that would contribute to that uncertainty for your customer, which ultimately, as I said, translates into your business. Combined, these two, ecosystem and external data, are the largest contributors to supply chain UV, because that's where reality lives, and the enterprise data systems are just recording what already happened. So there's a time differential between these two. But all three pieces of data, all three E's, are essential to improving the performance of your supply chain. So being able to see what's going on in that ecosystem is more than just saying, I know I have 20 trucks on the road. It's to know which part is in which truck and where that truck is, and what impact that's going to have on your business. So there's a lot of stakeholders in your company right now that are calling you and wanting to know the status of a shipment and trying to figure out which container or where their critical part is. All of that chatter, all of that static in your business can be self-serve. So that stakeholder, whether they're inside your business or not, can start to monitor and manage this type of information themselves. But more importantly, is your business has the necessary level of visibility to be able to see what's going on inside of both your business, the enterprise data, but also then that ecosystem and external data sets as well. So when you take those three E's of data and you have years of observations with more than 1 trillion data points per day, that's a perfect area to apply machine learning. So understanding the long-term behavior of a supply chain based upon what has happened historically allows you to avert disruption. You'll be able to get better predictive times of arrival, you'll be able to do some mode and node analysis, but really this understanding is the key trigger for improvements. And this is where you can start to collaborate with those stakeholders, both internal and external, by identifying or responding to what the system is identifying as a problem. Either a shipment's going to be late, a port is now congested, there's a labor strike in a certain country, right? what do we do to fix that so that we can protect the revenue and the margin of our business? So an example of this is Brooks. They're a well-known manufacturer of high-performance running shoes, and they received some terrifying news from their largest customer that their customer service levels were so poor that they were starting to lose shelf space. And of course, if anybody sells into retail, they realize that's the measure of success is shelf space. The problem Brooks had was they had a very large window, 6 days plus or minus, on the time of arrival of their shoes coming into their distribution operations. And because of that variability, they weren't able to commit to their customers when inventory was going to be available, therefore when they could get it to the shelf, because they themselves didn't know. So they deployed our solution, Transvoyant, and as a result, with that granular visibility on a global scale, they were able to see the status and condition and arrival times for each pair of shoes at every leg in the journey. And this resulted in that 6 days plus or minus coming down to an 8-hour plus or minus. So a 94% reduction in variability gave them the confidence to say, this container is going to be on my dock tomorrow first shift, so I can allocate that inventory to my largest customer. And as a result, their customer service levels increased and they recaptured lost shelf space. So a very large impact, protecting their existing enterprise systems, but leveraging these two external data sets, ecosystem and external, that allowed them to have a better control over their own performance, even while the inventory was in the possession of another company. So when you block the UV of your supply chain, you're going to be able to reduce its harmful effects. Now, those can show up in a number of categories. These would be examples. We talked earlier about the negative impact on inventory that your enterprise system wants to do, and customer service and revenue never seems to budge. But there's 4 broad categories: penalties, inventory, transportation, and revenue. So here's 4 examples in each of those of a very specific use case, as each of these are, that you can try to address, again, without disrupting your business. So in the penalty, typical complaint we hear is detention and demurrage charges from the customers. And this is allowing them to see, again, granular visibility, which containers are in which condition, which ones are going to be late, and a recommendation on what to be done about that, again, from the issues standpoint. The other condition that is common is in inventory or related to distribution, and in this case, we're talking about labor. So the uncertainty of times of arrival, this predictive time of arrival capability, actually allows you to improve your labor efficiency because you don't have that uncertainty. You don't have a staff of people on the 10th and 11th of June waiting to receive inventory at the inbound dock, but instead they'll know with certainty as to when these containers are going to arrive. So you can do proper staffing and make sure that your resources are in the right place at the right time. The third is around transportation. Again, this relates to the predicted time of arrival, but also being able to, in that process, let's say the predicted time of arrival suddenly goes red, right? It's beyond 2 days away from the ETA, and you've decided that that's a critical condition to be notified about. The system can come up with recommendations to identify the options, if there are, to expedite this shipment so that it actually gets back within compliance to the original estimated time. And then finally, we've already talked about the Brooks use case, but again, being able to improve customer service, granular visibility, the ability to understand the impact, the behaviors, all of that allows you to improve customer service. Thank you very much for your time today. Certainly, if you have any questions, we would love to talk to you about your business and any of those unique challenges you think plague you. Have a good day.